now this is where you say hello back. So today I'll be reading a letter that I wrote, and I hope you enjoy it. Inside my head, I have enough words to fill the Pacific Ocean. In true fashion to my student lifestyle, I have been staring at a blank page for the better part of 3 months, trying to put those words onto paper, but couldn't. In fear of the moment, when all this water spills out onto the stage floor in front of this whole auditorium, I won't be able to stop the tsunami of emotions I've held together for 21 years. Brought into this world bearing the name Meleseni Hama Tau'alupe, a testament to both my heritage and ancestry, dating back to that of the Lapita people. Yet, I feel unworthy of my coffee-stained skin, full island lips, brown almond-shaped eyes. Too white to be brown, but too brown to be white. A subcategory in Generation Y and Z, trying to fill a void of culturally inept voices that somehow lost translation between their Western homeland geographically and who they are inside ethnically. I found myself questioning, how do I have the right to stand before all of you to speak about finding yourself culturally in a modern day and age, when the reality is I internally am always in constant conflict of who I am? Because Hama, island girls do not dress like that. Island girls do not speak like that. Island girls do not act like that. If island girls are not meant to be this way, then tell me why my Tongan father raised me with the words, Hama, you have a voice, speak your mind. Harmonized with my Tongan mother, Hama, the most important thing is to be honest with yourself, constantly drilled into my mind. I have yet to understand how you are so rebellious, always going against the crowd, when choosing to be me shouldn't be such a lone wolf stand down. Always being told she's Tongan, but the plastic kind. As if to say, my well-articulated, Western-educated tongue, emotionally outspoken mind was any less Tongan than the next guy. Don't get me wrong, I'm deeply grateful for the privileges I am given to have grown up in a Pasifika home within a first world nation that is said to be mine for the taking. If this is true, then tell me why 8-year-old Hama struggled to make friends at a new school dipped in so much white that she swore it was a cluster of stars in the Milky Way, minus the space for voices who were culturally confused just like mine. So they made sure it was suppressed, stayed down, shut tight. Because no one really wanted to be friends with the weird epileptic brown girl with learning disabilities. They did not have to explicitly say it for me to understand this. Flash forward to 10, going on 11, this was the first time I considered suicide, and even at this young age, I knew I had depression. I was an anxious ball, a toxic mess. By the time I was in year 8, I was a cocktail mix of self-destruction, self-deprecation, self-harm, self-hatred. I was trying to detox myself of everything that I was taught was just not quite right, or more or less, was just not quite white. With the only welcoming words that were embedded into my life, you have gotten fatter. Look at your hair, it could start a fire. You look pretty with straight hair. You have to be the best. There is no time to rest. That is not what girls do. Why are you acting like a boy? You are too old to be playing with those toys. All I ever wanted was to feel at home in my own body, skin, and mind, but nothing ever felt like it was truly mine. Even my shadow never wanted to follow me, at times it seemed like. At 16, I was a body dysphoric heavyweight acrobat who walked on her hands in the early hours of the day, late nights on the tightrope of life. One night, I swayed too hard and lay unconscious on my familiar bedroom floor. It seemed I finally did the inevitable and closed my metaphorical door. Slipping through the cracks to never come back, becoming one of the many Pacifica statistics of the various versions of the same rhythmic song that never seemed to last quite as long. But life was not done with me yet, and pulled me back with the sound of my parents' panicked voices screaming my name as if it was on loop. And at this moment, I heard their hearts break for the youngest daughter who did not want to live anymore. It became somewhat of a tomb that was unspoken within the room. My mother, who was naturally always concerned for her 4 children's well-being, seemed to grow 10 years in age that following morning. She looked at me with overnight swollen, worried eyes and whispered the words, "Hama, are you okay?" Even I didn't want to know the answer to this question, but I already knew. We all knew. It came out those following weeks, seeping through like poison through the sewers. Slowly, my brothers found out, and so did my sister. I had never had my brothers hug me with so much intent, or seen my sister cry with so much hurt. "Hama, you can't leave me in this world without you." And for the first time, I had someone say to me, "You have to learn how to talk everything in your mind through." My mammoth of an older sister who always seemed like a pillar of strength in that split moment crumbled before me. In learning how to communicate my mental health or lack thereof, as well as my insecurities with those around me, I then learned the hard way that not everyone is ready to listen to the reality of your truth. Not everyone is going to accept the power of your vulnerability, especially when you come from a culture where talking about emotions is non-existent. I was constantly referred to throughout that year as sick by some of the people who were meant to love and guide me. I then found myself being pinballed through the mental health system, where I'd be placed into yellow painted rooms as if the color would drain away my every suicidal thought. I would then have Balangi people tell me how to fix my Pacifica displacement problems by medication, when all I ever really wanted was to feel accepted in some small corner of this world without having to be anyone else but myself. After 2 years of holding out for a broken mental health system, my anxiety grew, as did my depression. So I made the pivotal choice out of fatigue and desperation to view myself as a construction site in the making. I was not quite ready to build up the person I wanted to be because I was not sure who that was. But I was ready to reclaim my body as my land, to make it my home rather than just a rundown house that I own. I wanted more than anything for my cousins, who were more like my sisters, my nephews and nieces, to grow up in a world where they saw strength in seeing the difficult periods of what life throws at you through. That something beautiful can rise from the ashes of destruction if you are willing to clear the debris, to take a step back, to reconnect with yourself, recenter, rewire. At the twilight of my 20th year, the building began towards my first home, where the foundations were soaked in understanding and forgiveness, the floorboards nailed with healing and resilience. The walls were plastered with unapologetic determination. On top lay a glorious roof built from the ever-apparent phrases: "You have a voice, speak your mind." The most important thing is to be honest with yourself. It currently resides in the light of Tonga, being sheltered in the rolling hills of Aotearoa. To answer the question, how to find yourself culturally in a modern day and age, is to take the time out to understand your own journey and the implications of your childhood traumas. To allow yourself to not live in fear of communicating your yet-to-heal wounds dripping with shame and insecurities to the people you love. To create healthy dialogue between the generations and understand that it is a process that takes time. I may speak and act differently to that of the perceived notion of what an islander is seen to be. But just because a person chooses to broaden the horizons of perception, break stigmas, and rip down cultural barriers does not make them plastic or an Oreo. It is simply them trying to pave the way for the next generation to find comfort within their own skin while respecting their roots in what is meant to be the safe environment of their own community. Yes, I am insecure about the validity of my complexion, but the heart that beats through this chest, pumping blood through every inch of my body, carries the song of a person that is proud of her ancestry, that is proud of her growth and her journey. You do not have to carry the weight of your whole culture on your shoulders. The only people you are in debt to is the village that raised you and are there for you in times of need. Understand that a slow journey for one person could also mean a life journey for another. Now, what's next? Be kind to each other, as you never know what another person is going through. But most importantly, be equally as kind to yourself. Take pride in the names you were gifted. Correct those who say it wrong and carry it with mana. Show the people you love how much you care about them now, not when you're standing over their grave. Hug your parents more. And learn to say, I love you, with the steepest depth of vulnerability. Ko hoku hingoa, ko meleseni lu Hama Tau'alupe. I would like to dedicate this open letter to my friends and family who saw me through my darkest times. But most importantly, to the two most influential people in my life. Though I am difficult at times, thank you for letting me choose my own path and loving me through it all. I love you, Mum and Dad.